In this episode of Gareth Jones on Speed, I'm off to a rather exciting car launch, and you're coming with me. Hello, welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. I have been processed and I have been admitted into the event, and I have to say this is an extraordinary place for a launch because it's what used to be BBC Television Centre in Wood Lane, sort of Shepherd's Bush, White City, West London, somewhere I know well, having worked here myself for very many years. And as I walk in, there is a huge wall of yellow with Lotus written on it in the new Lotus typeface, and I suppose it's a font. And would you believe the first two people I see holding booze at the event are Alex, Goy and Richard Porter. Hello!
You're right.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Right, you're very good.
Welcome home.
Thank you. Well, in which way?
Well,
on Speed or TV Centre?
Both of those things, yeah. Weird being here, eh?
It is quite weird. I was just saying to Alex, I never actually worked in this building, but I did come to the studio. This is where they did Strictly, which my wife worked on, and loads of other shows. And I used to like hanging around TV Centre because it had that great buzz of making telly and sneaking in here to watch them recording Top of a Pops.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
Great. So, yes, it's nice to be back.
I was trying to work out, I think the last time I worked here was 94 when I made a programme about the moon landing, the 25th anniversary of the moon landing, and I interviewed Buzz Aldrin on the roof here, so this is hallowed ground for me. And I was trying to work out, was 94 the last year that Lotus were in Formula One, or they had already vanished at that point?
Hang on, which Lotus?
Yeah, right, yeah, a Lotus franchise.
The real Lotus.
Yeah.
One of those franchise operations.
Yeah.
God.
I think when they ran with the Lotus badge on the Pacific car, that may have been 94.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was all a bit fag-endy by then, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well, you got a glass of, what, free booze?
Free booze, the best booze.
Yeah.
It's the one you're most grateful for, and it's always the best booze in the world.
Yeah.
Hello, would you like some free alcohol? Yes, please.
And where did that free booze come from?
It was a lady. There was a lady with an easel.
Not the leading question at all. Any more free booze in the building?
There was a lady with an easel of alcohol.
I see ladies with alcohol there.
But they've become the empty glass collectors because we're about to go and sit down in our audience seat. Yeah, you might have to.
Oh, right, yeah, that's no good. I don't want an empty glass. Let me find a full glass and we'll sit together, shall we?
Yes.
Yeah, this is very exciting. Very exciting. Is there more booze?
There will be.
There will be, but not yet. Okay. No, I can't start a launch without booze, but it looks like I'm going to have to. Oh, well. I'm seated, like all the bad boys, in the back row, in between Richard and Alex. It looks like Lotus have had a slight rebrand. Seem to have done away with the green, the British racing green. The logo I'm looking at now is black and yellow, and definitely has a new typeface. And the car is, well, up to now it's been known as the Type 132, but it's got a name which sneaked out a couple of days ago. It's the Eletre, and Lotus are calling it their hyper SUV.
That's the plan. The Eletre. I kept calling it Eletre, and that's wrong. It's Eletre. Think Carmen.
Yeah.
And you're about there.
Yeah. It's a very muted E on the end.
Yeah. Eletre. I'm just excited. I'm in BBC Television Centre. I've never been in this.
You're kidding?
Before. I went to see Top of the Pops a million years ago.
Yeah.
But never been in here.
You
must have lived here for since the 70s and 80s.
In the 80s, I did come here very often, and the 90s.
And the 90s.
I'm trying to work out what I've been in this room for before now. Possibly Shooting Stars, I think.
Amazing.
I think this very room. Because we're in an actual proper studio. Well, it is still a TV studio, but it's not a TV centre anymore. It's a place where people live, isn't it?
So, what they've done is they've converted all that middle bit. There's a Soho house with a hotel on it, and then it's all very expensive starter flats. And by starter flats, you need 600 grand at least to get in.
Crikey Moses.
For a one bed that sort of overlooks a bit of history.
That's too much, isn't it?
It's London.
Yeah, it's London.
It's London. It's television centre and it's London.
How you been?
Good. Amazingly busy. I have much to discuss when we're next on a virtual room together.
Which will happen soon. It's nice to be in a physical room with you.
No, physical room. Last time that happened, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, no. Whoa, we went clubbing,
yes, we
and
did.
then I contracted COVID. But I don't think I got it from our club night. I think I probably already had it. I think I picked it up on St. David's Day, March the 1st.
Thanks for being the vector then.
Yeah. I didn't know it was me. I had no idea. Sorry.
Well, that's all right. Only another one of our number got it, but I was all right. I just felt rotten for a couple
I like
of
to
days.
think of myself more of a
Sharer.
pioneer.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of it about at the moment.
So
isn't
long,
there?
and thanks for all the disease.
So what do you know about the car? Do you know anything?
I know everything, but I'm not allowed to say anything yet.
You can tell me. We're at the launch.
We can talk about it afterwards. But
Okay. All right.
It's very exciting.
It is genuinely exciting. I was trying to work out the first four-door Lotus since the Carlton.
Yes, the Carlton was a Lotus, but also a Vauxhall.
Yeah, or an Opel.
This is all Lotus.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
But they're not going to build it here. They're going to build it in China, aren't they?
It's going to be built in Wuhan.
In Wuhan province.
And a shiny new facility.
Rather appropriate that we were talking about COVID then, isn't it? Right, sorry. Sorry, Lotus.
Oh, that's a gag too far, Gareth.
Yeah, it's unlike any other Lotus we've ever had.
It's a big electric SUV.
Yeah. Well, electrics aren't new because I've counted 2 electric Lotuses in the past.
Well, yes, there's the Avaya, the amazing hypercar, and there's the Tesla Roadster, which is a British sports car.
Yeah.
Which people who own them and people who like Tesla do get quite cross if you say it's a British sports car.
Yeah.
Because it was built in America, and by built in America, what they did was they assembled all the bits in the UK, and they left a cable unplugged, and they put them on a container, sent them to Detroit, and they went, click, made in America.
For real? Close enough.
That is what I have heard.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, well, that's good enough for me. As a journalist,
But
I know that you've done due diligence.
Yeah, I'm a journalist in inverted commas. But about 11 years ago now, I had my first visit down to Hethel. I was very excited. I was picking up a little 1.6 Elise, and I was being shown around basically like a pig in shit. And we got to the outside bit after the paint shop and like the finishing bit of the factory, and there was just a line of Tesla Roadsters. It's like, yeah, so basically we've made them here.
Ooh, here we go. Don't know if you can hear this.
Of the Lotus Eletre. My name is Daniel, I'm your floor manager in the studio here this evening, and just need to run through some housekeeping notes with you. Firstly, just be aware we do have a very large technocrane that will be swinging around, getting the best shot.
It's a very large technocrane indeed.
Sure we're not a robot was. So hopefully he won't be taking any heads out. So do not worry if you see something flying closely. We're fully rehearsed and know exactly where you're sitting. In the unlikely event that we need to evacuate the studio, tonight's launch will be paused. If we can ask you to remain in your seats, and then studio security will guide you to the safest emergency exit. There are emergency exits on all 4 corners of the studio, and your closest exit is the door that you came in that corner of the studio over there. Please ensure that your mobile phones are turned to silent. And if you are taking photos, please turn off the flash. We encourage you to share your experience tonight on social media. And if you do, please use the hashtag AeroKings. It's launch trending. So please be generous with your applause so that everyone watching home gets to feel a sense
Aero
of
King.
Don't understand.
And
Please use the hashtag Disneyland.
Disneyland.
What? Why? Who's taken that? What are you talking about?
Matt Wendell, Lotus's leading technocrat, takes the stage. We interviewed him on the show a while back. Top bloke.
Welcome everybody to the global reveal of Eletre. This is the 3rd product in our Vision 80 journey, which started with the Avaya electric hypercar unveiled in 2019, also here in London. We followed that last year with the launch of Emira at our test track in Hethel. The Emira changed the fortunes of Lotus as a sports car maker overnight. We immediately leapt from being a small, niche manufacturer selling model volumes numbered in the hundreds to a real player on the global sports car scene with thousands of orders taken overnight. Our brand new factory at Hethel is now fully up and running with a substantial order bank as customer deliveries begin this summer. I couldn't be more proud of what Emira has done for both our business and brand. And tonight, it's the turn of Eletre. If a mirror was a leap, then Eletre really is truly transformational. The model will translate to production numbers of tens of thousands. You'll be hearing a lot more about that in the coming hour or so. For now, what I can say as an introduction is simply that since the new investment in the business in 2017 and the launch of Vision 80 in 2018, Lotus delivers. 3 new models already, with 3 more to come. 3 new manufacturing facilities in the UK alone, and another in China to launch our electric lifestyle vehicles, starting tonight with Eletre. Born British, raised globally. It's the product of our teams in Hethel, LTIC in Germany, and LTCC here in the UK. Thanks to this truly global team, Lotus delivers, and the opportunities are, well, limitless. We're thrilled to have 2 great presenters today, so please give a big welcome to Julia Harley and Andy J.
Gareth Jones on speed! One of the presenters just said that we're a few minutes away from going live, which is presumably still being done in one of the other studios as is live and kicking. As I was being processed on the way in, I recognised a face in front of me. None other than Clive Chapman, son of Sir Colin Chapman, who we interviewed on the programme. When was that? When I went over to Hethel a couple of years ago now. Clive, of course, runs Classic Team Lotus, all the classic F1 cars that are still run very proudly for Lotus in a sort of sister or brother operation right next to where they build the other cars. There's quite a lot of people here. I count 10 rows of seats ahead of me, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 25, perhaps even 40 rows across. So 400 people? Is that right? Maybe more. Big event, big moment for Lotus. And they've got a few sort of psychological hurdles, haven't they, to straddle with this car. First of all, it's an SUV, a Lotus SUV. That's a big ask, isn't it? Because it's diametrically opposed to what Lotus are known for: low and light and sporting. And the only thing sporting about SUV usually is the letter S. Although there are sporty SUVs, but this one will probably have to redefine what that means and perform better than, let's say, a Macan, which is probably the sportiest SUV at the moment. But this one's electric, so it's carrying a huge payload of batteries underneath it. And unless Lotus have found a way of creating ultra lightweight batteries, it's not going to be as light as a traditional Lotus. But I'd be very interested to find out how they've managed to keep the car light. We're about to find out. Richard, can I interrupt?
Hello.
You're a sort of a font typeface man, aren't you?
Yes.
The E's, and there are 3 in Eletre, which don't have a vertical component. They're just 3 horizontal components.
Yeah.
We've seen that on a car previously.
Well, I feel it's slightly reminiscent of the Ford badging typeface of the 80s.
Thank you.
Sierra.
Thank you.
I mean, not quite the same, but it's got that vibe, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of take liberties with the construction of the letter because it looks kind of cool, putting that so it's all on the horizontal, and that's sort of what Ford used to do with a lot of the letters in that mid. Well, I guess it came in with the Sierra, and then it lasted.
Sierra's what, 82?
Sierra's 82, yes.
Yeah,
So
82.
it came in with that, and then I guess lasted until the late 80s when they decided to go a little bit less 80s, I suppose. But
So is this the first example of the 80s being reconstructed as a modern concept?
yeah, well, it probably is, isn't it? Just to make us feel extra old.
Oh,
because
don't.
I feel like the 90s is back, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, the 90s never went away.
No.
Yeah, sorry.
No, probably not for me either, truth be told. There's what we're looking at now. Oh, like there's someone DJing outside in what is known, anyone who's ever worked for the BBC would know that circular middle bit of television centre as the donut.
Yeah.
And the inside, it's now apartments, most of it, isn't it? But when it was offices, they were very drafty, rat-infested offices, but I always like going there because of the great feeling of the white heat of television being made. But fantastically easy place in which to get lost. Just keep walking literally in a circle.
It's like being on the saucer section of the Enterprise. If you keep walking, you'll eventually get to where you're going. It's a circle, yeah. I got lost here all the time.
All the time.
There's a proper name for that area, though, in front there. It's called Aerial something. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Who is that on the pillar in the middle of the centre of...
is it Ariel?
Ariel. It is Ariel.
The Roman goddess of television? I don't think that's right.
Well, the Romans were very advanced.
Weren't they?
Yes.
Really far-sighted, yeah. Aqueducts and irrigation and then the TV. Well, this is all very exciting, though. There's a clock counting down. We've got 3.5 minutes to go.
Can we fill for 3 minutes 25 seconds? I'm sure we can. Do you know anything about the car?
Time, I had a little wee peek at some pictures of it, and I don't know that much. I just said to Alex before, I was like, I feel like my professionalism as a car journalist is ebbing away because I know nothing about this. I don't know where it's being made. I think it's based on a Geely. Alex has filled me in with a few details, but then he went, you're not supposed to know. This is the launch. And he's got a point. It is. So.
Well, you can't say Geely, by the way. It's Geely.
I beg your pardon.
Geely.
Yeah.
And I would imagine there's a lot of shared componentry between this Volvo electric vehicles and Lynk & Co. and probably several other Geely branded cars that we don't get over here.
Look, out there in the donut, there's an Evija, the electric hypercar, but I just noticed there's a white original Esprit parked out there as well.
Oh, hello, that's you all over it.
And just
a white one.
Later.
Are you going to go over and do your Roger Moore as you stand next to it? You do a very good Roger Moore.
It's the eyebrow. I know that car. I think that's Lotus's heritage car. There's a couple of things under sheets, though. I wonder what those are because they look too small to be Eletras. Is it
Eletre?
Eletre.
I think it's
Eletre. Eletre.
We're going to find out anyway.
Iranu indeed, Alex.
Yeah, funny you should say that, but I think this was the room in which they did Shooting Stars.
You were on Shooting Stars.
I was in this very room, I think. Yeah.
What are you doing here?
I think it was this room. I think so. Hard to tell, I forget. But yeah, Eletre indeed.
It just reminded me of, because my wife used to work in this building and she's American. It took her a long time to fully appreciate the heritage of this place, and that I was immensely excited when she sort of go, we're doing this thing, or they're putting, they showed me where they used to do this and that, and I'd be like, this is amazing. And one day one of her colleagues went, we're just going to shoot that in the broom cupboard, and she went, what? Why would you shoot it in a broom cupboard? Well,
she didn't understand.
Anyone who grew up here would know that. I think it probably was pretty much a cupboard, but they turned it into a very small continuity studio, and then it became infamously where Philip Schofield and then Andy Peters used to announce kids' programmes in the afternoon. But of course, if you didn't grow up here, you didn't know that. So I was like, oh my God, you're actually going to go into the broom cupboard. She went, oh, well, this afternoon. Well, I don't know what all the fuss is about.
I hope they've saved the broom cupboard here.
Oh, I don't know. It was upstairs, wasn't it? That it wasn't down on the ground floor where all the big
never went
studios
in there.
No, I didn't.
No.
But
I don't think I was allowed as essentially an ITV person. I don't think I was allowed.
The enemy.
Yeah.
Well, there's loads of ITV shows get made here now, which is ironic in some kind of way. But anyway, that's enough nerding out about old telly.
All right, we have 23 seconds left because there is a countdown of the Union flag bedecked female DJ who is DJing outside.
Very British car, and we are going to be told that.
A very British.
Over and over again.
Yes, despite its German and Chinese origins. Yes. And one. Right, I'll shut up. Here we go. Right. While we get into the launch, I'm going to stop recording and then we'll update a little bit later. We're being teased. We were just shown a video of a box being carried on a barge up the Thames with the word Eletre written on it, and they cut away just at the moment the box was being lifted. We thought we were going to get a taste of what the car looks like, but we didn't. Peter Horbury, who's a very famous designer across a number of Geely's brands, is on screen at the moment. Peter Horbury done lots of Volvo stuff, done some Lynk & Co stuff, and now he's head of design for Lotus itself too.
The first all-electric hyper SUV from Lotus. the Lotus Eletre.
We're going to see the car. Here we go. Six people standing on stage with Us Lot, which is of course an anagram of Lotus, written on the back of their racing overalls. Quite a bit of lighting changing in the room. More lighting changes. Follow spots. More follow spots. They've turned round, they're walking towards us, they've walked off the stage. Not entirely certain why they were there. We're now left with a circular weaved pattern on the screens in front of me, possibly vortices, aerodynamic vortices, I don't know. The waves are now moving across the screen. There's an image of the car on one of the screens, the top half of the car only. Angular, swoopy. And the screen is lifting up now to reveal the car, which is on a Lazy Susan. And is it going to drive forward off the Lazy Susan? It's rotating now, pointing towards us. Yep, here it comes. I have to say, it looks a little bit Lincoln Co. to me. That was Jenson Button delivering the car to the front of the stage for us, who was just interviewed. He now sits there slightly awkwardly as the car rotates. This one is silver. And yeah, it's nice, handsome. Remind me a little bit of the Kia EV6, perhaps?
Kia EV6, but massive.
Gareth Jones on speed.
Wow, thank you so much to everybody involved for making the show here tonight. So to you guys here in the Helios, to you guys in the studio, to everyone who's watching, and everyone involved, thank you so much for watching. Good night!
And there it is. The formal part of the event is over. The car is left sitting on the stage. Presumably they couldn't get a new Lotus. They had to stick a Kia EV6 there. Is that right?
I think someone's done a cut and shut job on a Kia EV6 with a Lamborghini Urus.
Yeah.
Or maybe with some Lexus RX in there as well.
Yeah.
Still
it's of its age then, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not as tall as I was worried it was going to be. They managed to keep the height down. It's a low roof, isn't it?
I think this will be the next frontier of cars. I think that Ferrari pureed sandwich that's coming quite soon is going to be similarly sort of, an SUV, but
low
not
roof.
really an SUV, quite low. So Lotus getting a jump on Ferrari there. As soon as you said it looks a bit like a Kia, and you're right, and I think you can see lots of other cars in there. Despite what the designers have just been telling us, I'm just going to go, which bits of it are a Lotus?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We haven't had much technical spec about the car. The launch is focused almost entirely on the design of the car. We don't know about the motors, the battery capacity.
Quite interesting that it's got LiDAR on it. I think that's going to be the first road car. I'm looking at Alex because he knows these things. The first road car.
Isn't there an Audi with LiDAR?
I don't know that. It's world first deployable LiDAR because they went, you know what LiDAR is? It's very clever, but it's also intensely ugly.
Yeah.
So they hid it. So there's two things above the front wheels, little sort of slots. You'll see them in pictures. And when it deploys, it sort of slides down.
Yeah.
And the thing pops out. And there's one on the front of the roof and one on the back. The only problem is when the one on the front pops up, it does look a little bit like a taxi. The one on the front pops up and you go, oh. Yeah. So where legal, they've got cameras for wing mirrors, and there's three in there. There's one for the over-the-top view so you don't destroy an alloy, even though I'm sure Londoners will manage quite well. It's three things. One's for to help with the LiDAR and safety tech, one's for the 360 view, and one's for the wing mirrors,
Right.
which is really smart.
I like the little LiDAR modules. That's quite a sort of a surprise and delight feature. Well,
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. It's capable theory of some high level of autonomy, but it's not legal anywhere.
I am concerned how it's going to pass crash testing, because that's a very sharp front end, isn't it? That will take your head off.
Well, if only if you're a child.
Or Peter Dinklage,
Or Peter Dinklage.
for instance.
Well, yeah, it is quite pointy, but I don't know is my answer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to ask Russell. If I can find him, I'll ask him.
He'll be downstairs.
You would have worked out a way.
If
Maybe that's just sponge, the sharp bit.
If he's anything like me, he'll be finding free booze imminently.
Yes, booze. That's a good
Free
idea.
booze. Should we find some alcohol?
That's a very good idea. Let's do that now.
Find an alcohol.
I might go and look at the car on the way past, but I'm definitely going to find an alcohol. Right, now this programme's going to take off. I'm on the stage. I've managed to get a glass of, not sure if it's champagne, but it's fizzy and very nice. And I'm next to the car. Let's have a look. I'm assuming you're looking at images of the car as I'm recording this. I'm wondering if this is the Lotus with the longest wheelbase since, I don't know, the Lotus Carlton. It looks a very long car, but I think it looks long because it's got a low roof and it is a big car. If it had a higher roof, it would make the wheelbase look shorter. I'm going to look at the front end. I'm genuinely concerned about how it's going to pass crash testing, because it has a very, very sharp upper bit. Very, very sharp. And they talk about it being a car that is porous to air. It's not the first. I think the Ford Cortina Mark 1 with its through-flow ventilation, as they used to call it, I think that was porous. Not in the way that this is, of course, but porous, definitely. Coming in the back of the car now. It's got a very slopey rear end, which is good. That adds to the sort of coupe sporting quality of the car, rather than a bluff rear end, which would make it look like an estate car or a classic Peter Horbury Volvo with a vertical back end. But yeah, they've worked hard at making it coupe-like. And yeah, it's lovely. Not too tall. That's the headline. The Lotus Eletre, not too tall. The official Gareth Jones on speed line on the car. Peter Horbury, how wonderful to finally get to meet a man whose cars I've admired for very many years.
Thank you.
How proud are you at this moment?
I don't say it's like becoming a father again.
Yeah, I understand that.
Really, after so many years of toil and everybody working hard to get to this, to eventually reveal it, it's always a buzz. I've been doing this for many years, and it never tires. This experience of showing the world what we've been dying to show them for years,
It's something that I think has been anticipated from our side of the industry, the car enthusiastic, journalistic side. The idea of a Lotus SUV is a stretch, isn't it?
Well, I think to many people it was, and that's why we really had to make sure that the minute you see it, you recognise what it is. So I think we managed to do that very well. As I was speaking earlier, this ability to change the whole proportion of a vehicle to make an SUV look in the same mould as a mid-engine sports car has been the key to this.
And it's that whole cab forward thing that's done it.
It is. The windscreen sits between the front wheels, just as Evija, just as Emira, and Elisa and all the others. So that's why I think we can safely say this looks like a Lotus.
Were there arguments about the height of the roof, the ceiling of the car, because it is noticeably low for an SUV? Surely that's a nod towards sports, isn't it?
It's true, but it's also a nod towards efficiency, because electric cars have one thing that people will talk about forever, and that's the range. So if you can keep the
frontal area
down, then of course it'll go further. And what with this porosity, as Russell and Ben described, we're really trying to make this a very usable electric car without the worry. So the roof, yes, but you've got the battery pack, you've got the seats, you've got the height of the passengers. There is a limit how low you can go.
And whose car is it? Because 3 design execs spoke about the car today. Whose is it?
Well, we have 2 studios. We have Hethel, where Russell is in charge of the sports cars, and we have Coventry, where Ben is in charge of these so-called lifestyle vehicles. So the SUV, the next 4-door coupe, sedan, and a further SUV will all be done in Coventry, but the electric sports car, which Russell is working on, will be done in Hethel. But we work together. I mean, it's good to have people to throw ideas against, and the sounding board of 3 mates who are busy working on the cars. We don't hold our cards to our chest. It's an open dialogue, and it is very useful to have 3 heads.
During that dialogue, what were the styling cues? What were the elements? What were the biggest arguments about?
We also have to satisfy the global markets, and what's acceptable in one culture may not be acceptable in another, so we have to balance everything. For the Chinese, for example, the face of the car is so important. That is the character of the car, it's in its face. So we have to get that right. And when our Chinese colleagues say, yes, that's it, we know we're onto a good thing. But we can't overdo it. Some of the Chinese brands are really going over the top, I think, in this aggressive front end. I mean, this is sporty, but I don't think it's that aggressive. It's not as high as most SUVs, for example. But it works. It actually does a job.
I have a question about the front end.
Yeah.
How does that split front end with that very high, sharp nose pass crash testing or impact?
Pedestrian, everything's taken care of. Of course it is.
How is that possible? Aren't you supposed to have a bluff front end these days?
We're clever.
That's what I was looking for. Peter Horbury, how wonderful to meet you, sir. Really, genuinely. Big fan of your work and of Lotus, and
Appreciate it.
good luck tonight. Thank you. The man. There you go. We have the answer. Lotus are clever. But we knew that, didn't we? Right then. I want to know something about the technology on the car. I want to know about the motors and the battery pack and all that stuff. And let's see if I can find someone who can direct me towards someone who can talk about that sort of thing. Russell Carr is here, friend of Gareth Jones on Speed, and has a big part to play in Lotus design. He might be able to point me towards someone who knows about these things. Richard. Hiya. I have an answer to how Lotus are passing pedestrian impact with the nose.
Go on.
According to Peter Horbury, Lotus are clever.
Okay, well, I could have guessed that.
That's all he would give me.
Mind you, to quote the man from House of Cards, he would say that, wouldn't he?
He would say that.
So it's Peter Horbury, though.
Yeah, I know.
Legend.
I know. I'm genuinely chuffed.
It's a very pointy nose, isn't it? I can't. Let's go and press it and see how squishy it is.
Go on, let's find out. Richard's going over, and
The only thing is, I'm not sure if this is a real car or if it's a model.
well, it was driven.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So of course it will be.
Yeah. How does it feel?
Really hard.
Right.
So I run
It's
into
not
it
soft.
and see if I sustain a thigh.
Yeah, go on. I'll push it forward into you. 50. See, you've broken his leg. It's up front.
It's taken a knot out of it. That's good. Well, look, I've just noticed. I see. It's a number plate. I thought it had got Eletre sort of embossed or debossed into the bumper, but that's just the black. It's a
Where the number
black
plate goes.
plate on it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is nice. I'm always disappointed when I see a new Lotus because my hopes are up, usually. I am overexcited about Lotus. I love Lotus cars. And even if it's a very, very good-looking car, you kind of wish it was even more exotic. Is it too exotic? Is it not exotic enough?
It's hard to think of SUVs as exotic. I mean, even a Lamborghini Urus, I find just a sort of slightly revolting oaf of a car.
Yeah.
So,
But this doesn't look oafish, does it?
I don't know. This is not oafish, although it does have sort of bits that are quite Urus-like. There's the front particularly, but I don't know. I suppose we almost equate exoticism, is that a word, with lowness, because it's almost like normal cars are tall. Any old car can be tall. A Ford Focus is tall, or a a Nissan Qashqai is tall. So what makes a car exotic, a sports car, a supercar, is and makes them rare, is that they're lower than the average pair. And this is not. This is the same sort of, even though it's probably quite low for a SUV. It's actually, do you know what? We were sitting up there and saying it's quite low. You get down here and it's not, because the whole thing is in fact frigging massive. And that kind of actually...
It is a big car, isn't it?
It's a big old car.
Yeah.
I guess that's because that's what people want. I mean,
Yeah. It's a world car. It's got to work in America.
Yes.
And they're bigger in America, aren't they? So they need bigger cars.
Yeah, and I suppose it's probably also... I don't know what's underneath here, but it's some kind of Geely shared thing, isn't it? So I guess... to some degree or other, Lotus were hamstrung. I don't know. This will all come out, I suppose. Well, you could probably find someone here who you can ask, but I don't know.
Yeah, who's going to sell more cars? Lynk & Co., one of these Geely brands that we don't know the name of, or this car? That's the question, isn't it?
I don't know. Obviously, this isn't really meant for us in Britain. I think this is probably meant for China. They probably hope it'll go somewhere in America.
Yeah.
Because what intrigues me about this as well is obviously this is meant to be a posho SUV. The interior looks really swishy. So they're going to want, and I don't know how much it is. Do you know how much it's going to be?
No, they haven't mentioned that either in the announcement, have they?
I just can't even guess. But maybe is it going to go
90 grand?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, 90.
And then a few options, and it's £100,000 car. Now, Lotus dealers generally are sort of based in like rural petrol stations generally, aren't they? I know they're trying to change that, but in Britain at least, you're going through some charming little village called Budwick Flistwipe or something, and then there's a funny little garage, and you go, look, they still have a man who pumps petrol for you. Oh, there's a Lotus garage behind it. That's how Lotus sell cars. Because in the past, if you wanted an Elise, you would be prepared to travel for it.
Yeah.
But this is much more, you need to be in a sort of out-of-town omniplex next to the Lexus garage to land this sort of thing, I think. And have easy finance terms.
So the only way that this car is going to be a success is if they set up a string of new dealerships in those locations or sell it online.
Ah, well, they could do that, couldn't they? They could short-circuit it, I suppose so. I think the only thing is to sell something online and get that buzz about it, it's got to be exceptional. And I think this is what I'm sort of looking at this and going, what's exceptional about this? Notwithstanding that it may drive in an amazing way, and you wouldn't bet against it because Lotus are good at that. But to look at, is it...
It's familiar. It's a little too familiar.
Yes, that's exactly
It's very, very, very well executed. It's very pretty. It's familiar.
Yeah. The interior, I haven't actually sat in it, but I do like the interior, and I like that it's got that quadrat, isn't it? That sort of synthetic fibre that's in various Range Rovers. I like that because I'm just, leather. I've had enough of leather.
Yeah.
It needs leather. Yeah. I'm just going to grab a glass of champagne. Would you like?
Take that empty glass. I'm going to talk to Russell Carr. Join me. Russell's already in the middle of a conversation at the moment, but I'm going to try and interrupt because he's a tremendous bloke. And let's see, if someone has joined the group that he was talking, let me just see if I can squeeze in. Russell, sorry to interrupt. Gareth Jones, how you doing, man?
I'm good, yeah.
Nice to see you, congratulations.
Well, thank you. It's congratulations to Ben and his team for doing the work. But,
so this isn't one of yours, according to Peter Horbury?
Well, no, I'm part of the team, so we're part of the reviewing on this.
You know Richard Porter from Sniff Petrol, don't you, Russell?
I do know you.
Yeah. We haven't heard anything about the tech on the car. Who's the best person to talk to about the tech on the car here today? I want to know about the batteries and the motor.
Yeah, you have to find somebody else other than me to talk about.
Who would be the best name?
I think Serino is here tonight. One of the guys from the LTIC in Germany, so he's one of the best people to speak to.
Serino.
Yeah, Serino.
Serino.
I'm not sure because I've only met him once myself, so...
So did Lotus get so big that
I know,
yeah, it's just expanding all the time.
How big is it now compared to what it was when you joined, 25 years ago, was it?
It's a lot bigger than then. But it's just expanding exponentially at the moment because obviously the number of people who need to be behind this type of vehicle is just totally different from a low-volume sports car. And also the sort of breadth of what we're doing on this in terms of obviously battery technology, driveline, infotainment, all that stuff is just so phenomenal. But it's where Lotus always should have been.
And is this now that you've got so many models coming, is this now you're sort of this was done in Coventry, was it? So you're sort of dividing and conquering that.
So the Coventry studio looks after all the non-sports car stuff.
Okay.
We look after all the two-seater stuff, and then we all work for Peter, who's standing behind you. And and we do things at design reviews, and we look at one another's work, etc. So.
And how about the future of the car? How many versions are there going to be? Will there be an ultra sport version, or is that it?
There'll be other versions, but we're not announcing that yet. But there's bound to be other versions of it for sure.
You're the king of versions at Lotus, though. How many versions of the Elisa were there? 87?
There's not time this evening to go through all that.
This is surely going to share some commonality with Lincoln Co cars and other Geely products.
This is a bespoke platform for Lotus.
Is it? There is nothing that's going to be translated to other cars?
Currently, this is a bespoke platform for Lotus.
Currently,
so.
Okay, okay, but I get it, yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know what the plan would be for that, but this is bespoke to Lotus. So it's been designed so it's got all the attributes that we want in a car.
And is it a Lotus for America?
It's a global car.
So how do you meet the requirements of a car for the UK, for the US and China? How do you do that? They're very different, aren't they?
We do it with a lot of hard work. That's how we do it. No, but it's what we do in the business. It's the same with our sports cars. They're all global. So, we have to work with all the regulations and all the customer tastes and all those things as well. So.
Russell, great to see you. Congratulations.
Great to see you as well,
yeah.
But you need to find Ben, who was the guy behind this. You can ask him more questions on that, and also some of the guys from the tech side as well.
I will do exactly that. Cheers.
See you.
Gareth Jones on speed!
Matt Wendell is standing just over here. He's the managing director of Lotus Cars. And I interviewed him a couple of years ago and asked him if there was going to be a Lotus SUV. And he said he couldn't tell me. So I think now might be the time to get him to answer that question. Matt, Gareth Jones.
I remember.
How you doing, man?
How are you?
Nice to be remembered. Congratulations, man.
Thank you very much. What did you think?
It's familiar. It's gotten a whiff of Kia EV6. I have to say that.
Right.
But I'm seeing a lot of Lotus. I'm seeing a bit of Baja Lotus with this sort of the edgy quality to it, which was sort of a Baja thing. So you're dipping into your resources which have not yet been exploited. I can say that. It's lovely. I like the fact that it's lower than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, it is. Well, the thing is, as we said, with extending the wheelbase, we've been able to get the body low, which really gives it a really distinct proportions for a car this size, so an E-segment car. So
we haven't heard much about the running gear today. I want to know about the batteries and the motors. What can you tell me?
It has batteries and it has
Are you not telling people stuff about that today?
No, we are, but I'm not close to the technical side of this, so I'd rather you talk to technical guys. They'll give you a much better input into it. So.
And the price?
Below 100,000 in the UK.
Right, that's exactly what we guessed. I said about 90 grand, so yeah. It's going to be below 100, it's going to be somewhere between those two figures. Okay, fair enough. And who primarily is going to consume this car in the greatest number? Will it be the US, China, or Europe? Do you know?
No, I hope all the markets want it. I mean, it'll be very popular in China. Thank you. Tom's there.
More booze coming in.
It'll be very popular in China, but I think as a city car, I mean, we're here in London, aren't we? You see big cars going around London. This is perfect for them because it's an EV, great range, and it looks amazing as well. There's nothing like this out on the market. So
it's the first four-door Lotus since the Carlton, which we can count, can't we?
Okay.
Is it the longest wheelbase of any Lotus car yet? Do you know?
Yes, I think it is.
That was
and
my
probably
guess.
The longest car as well.
Yeah. How long is it?
Just over 5 metres.
That's a lot of car, isn't it?
It's a lot of car.
And dynamically, what is your nearest challenger? The Porsche Macan?
Yeah, or the Cayenne. Yeah, it's that size. It's an E-segment SUV, so it's above the Macan.
And how do you enjoy events like this? Because they must be genuinely stressful.
No, I do. The thing for us is, we've seen this car for 3 years, okay? we've seen a mirror 3 years before it comes out, and it's all about the public's reaction, really. And this is like letting out your secret, you know what I mean? You kind of get it off your chest, and then you're like, right, okay.
It's like coming out.
But seriously, 2 days ago we were talking about the launch of Type 133, so we never stop. We're all, as you can imagine, me with the strategy and stuff like that in the business, I'm 5, 6, 7 years ahead of where we are today. But it's just nice to stop and reflect and appreciate, the effort that's gone into it.
I have to say, during the launch, the fact that one of your presenters was talking about the next car, I felt sorry for you, because it's all about this today, isn't it? It's all about the Eletre.
We're going to go photobomb them, watch.
Yeah, we better get out of the way. I've just Jenson Button being photographed here. Matt decided to photobomb it, and so did I, but I've got out of the way to let them do it now. He's taking pictures at the moment. I'm going to try and steal him. He's very busy. Mr. Button, you got 10 seconds for Gareth Jones on Speed again. How are you?
I'm really good.
It's been at least 10 years since we spoke.
10 seconds, so I speak slowly.
Get 3 words out. Finally, a Lotus for you as a family man.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really big inside, I guess, because you don't have the combustion engine. They can move the front of the cabin, front 2 seats forward, loads of legroom in the back. I always struggle with that, because baby seats are massive. But no, it's mega. Just got to wait a little while. That's a shame. I want it now.
How long?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I need to ask the big man.
Are you on a list?
I am now. I spoke to him. Because the first time I saw it was tonight. I drove it out. I was a bit worried driving it out. Let's just say that.
That was a genuinely nerve-wracking moment. More nerve-wracking than starting, I don't know, Brazil in 2009?
Black. He couldn't see. I thought it was going to end up over there. But anyway, it's all good. Cheers.
Nice to see you, man. Actual Jenson Button on the show for the second time. Okay. Alex Goy with booze. How's the booze?
I found a lot of it, so we're all
Yeah, me too.
I'm just doing an Instagram because I got some Wi-Fi.
Oh, BBC Wi-Fi. Be careful.
Wi-Fi.
You'll be broadcasting to the world.
Yes, maybe. Hang on, I'll do that after this.
You do that.
How are we?
I'm good. I spoke to Peter Horbury.
Oh, how did that go?
It was very exciting. He was remarkable.
Is he the one taking responsibility for the car?
No.
Is Ben Payne taking responsibility for the car?
From Coventry, who deals with non-sports cars.
Right.
So they are...
So he said, it was me, boss.
Yeah, well, Paul hasn't, but Peter Horbury said it wasn't me. Well, he did say we work as a team. But hey, come on.
It's not my fault, it's our fault.
Yeah. Come on, we're being harsh, really, because it is lovely, isn't it? It is lovely.
I adore the interior. I really do. And the whole porosity thing, during the presentation, they went a bit heavy on it. It's got big holes in it, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
If you look at it from the angle we're looking at it now, it's just ahead of the front wheel arch, and it's side on, and it's got a big mouth, and it's angry, and it's bitey. And I like that.
Bitey. They should have called it the Lotus Bitey.
It's a bitey, fighty car.
It is. It's like a shark, that nose.
The spec of it is fantastic. It starts at 600 horsepower, 0 to 60 sub 3, top speed something very fast, 340 plus mile range. I can't remember the press release because booze.
Four-wheel drive?
All-wheel drive. So, yeah, you've got lots of motors. All the motors. There are some cool bits. The deployable LiDAR I really like, largely because it is ugly if you don't have it there. So they came up with a neat solution.
And you only need the LiDAR when you're parking, or...?
So LiDAR helps with active safety systems in general, but the car is level something autonomy ready, where legal.
4. Probably.
Level 4. Hello.
I'm guessing.
Level 4 autonomy where legal, if legal.
Yeah.
So if it becomes legal in the UK, brilliant. It'll park yourself for you, do stuff for you. If not, it's a neat thing they can say it can do.
Yeah.
Just need to make the bloody thing work. Lotus needs to make this.
Yeah, to be able to continue as a firm.
It's lovely that they do a £2 million hypercar. That's bedroom wall poster stuff. It's lovely that they make a 60, 70, 80, however much you want to spend on it, sports car. But they did the sports car thing for, well, I was talking to someone else about the whole 2010 thing, and because the massive sudden brand expansion went so horribly wrong so horribly quickly, it stunted them, and they had to subsist off of the same chassis 3 different ways. The business just about got by. I know the press release they were trading profitably, which doesn't mean they're out of debt. It just means they were making more money than they were losing. If you're going to survive now, you need a car like this.
Well, the Porsche Cayenne ensured the future of Porsche sports cars, didn't it?
The bits of London that we live in, it's a very, very swanky thing to say, but how many Model X's do you see?
Yeah.
How many Range Rover Sports do you see? How many Audi e-trons do you see?
Yeah.
Like, big SUVs sell, big electric SUVs are selling more. Like, the sales figures for this particular class of car globally is massive, and it's only going to get bigger because people have money that they want to spend every month. They can write off against lots of things. It makes sense, it works.
It makes a lot of sense. A sensible Lotus. What a ridiculous idea.
I dailied one for 8 years. It's sensible if you don't have any partners and do a weekly shop for one, then it's fine.
And then when you get a partner and you have kids, you get one of these. There you go, a sensible Lotus.
Sensible Lotus.
I'm back on the stage. There is a car sitting on the stage and the doors are open, but no one is in it. I don't know if we're allowed to get in, but I'm going to go in and sit in the driver's seat because no one else is doing. Let's have a look. I want to look at the interior because they did say that they're very proud of the interior. And the door which greets you, it's got electric door handles which reach out of the car as they sense that you're close, which I've heard Tesla drivers complain about in Canada because they freeze up when it's super cold. I'm going to get in. Can I? The door opens. I'm in. Am I the first podcaster to be in an Eletre? And yes, I would say that Lotus have upped their game significantly here. The steering wheel has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not completely circular. It's septagonal, is that right? And a very narrow screen, very narrow dash. Honestly, it's no more than 1.5 inches old money in terms of height. There's also a giant screen in the middle of the car as well, which, okay, doesn't move unless you press buttons. But yeah, this is all very, very nice in here. The fabric, I don't know what it is, feels like suede, but it's not leather. So this is luxury rather than sporting. And a low ceiling, a low roof, like I observed from outside. You notice it inside. And yeah, this is up in their game. This is Lotus moving into an area that they've never managed to thoroughly own before now. There have often been complaints that Lotus's interior is a bit sort of minimalist and part spin, but this looks lovely. Knurled knobs, lovely pattern on the knurled knobs on the second sticks. Alex is taking pictures. Am I the first podcaster to be inside an Eletre? I think I am.
I don't know. I can't comment on the internet.
But yeah, oh yeah. Firm, very firm seat. I'm sat in the very seat that Jenson Button sat in. This may be a first. Well done, Lotus. Well done. The rear end of the car, now that I'm outside, is very interesting. It looks like it's got a long boot. There's some clever stuff going on with the design that makes the boot look longer than it is. I'm going to try and open the boot. Let me see if I can find a sensor. Okay, I'm pressing a button, but the boot isn't opening. But that looks to me like it's got a genuinely commodious boot, probably even big enough for a tricycle baby buggy. That's got to be a first for a Lotus, hasn't it? Definitely. John Markar from the Driven podcast is here, and he's talking to Richard at the moment. So I'm going to go and do a simulcast and join in on that conversation, so we are both producing exactly the same content with Richard Porter.
This is amazing.
Are we simul-podcasting?
This is absolutely amazing. It's like, this is like, is it a collab? Is it like When Doves Cry? Is it something in between? It's a beautiful thing to regard. Two of Britain's best car podcasts coming together with their beautiful erect microphones in my face.
Erect?
With the best script editor that's ever been in this room.
Well, thank you very much. Richard's good at that as well. Much better than I am, really, genuinely.
Gareth, me.
This is
Also, I feel like I'm at a drinks party.
Nice to meet you. How you doing?
Yeah, very much.
I'm reminded of when BBC 2 would do a simulcast with Radio 2, where you could listen in stereo before we had Nicam stereo. And we've now got two podcasts with exactly the same people and words on them.
Exactly.
Hey.
And the same copyright infringements.
Gareth knows those.
Well,
This is all right. Background noise is okay.
Background's fine. As long as we talk over it and edit it,
Sorry,
we're
is
fine.
this battle of the podcast?
There you go.
What is going on?
It's two car podcasts interviewing now a man who also does a third podcast.
Yes.
And a person who is a regular on this one and a regular on that one as well.
It's too meta. It's all too meta.
It's
folding in on
cross-podulation.
itself.
There'll be machine gun podlings.
It's like Ghostbusters, where you mustn't let the flows.
seams cross.
Yeah, exactly.
If we spot the bloke from Seeing Through Glass across the room, we all have to run for it, or it's all going to get too much. It's going to become achieve like the
Let's have to
density
see through
of
glass him.
a black
We'll be
hole.
fine.
Sam.
Lovely sound.
It's okay, doesn't it?
We should finish this podcast with someone who is here today who has a car named after her, a Lotus named after her. This is Elisa Artioli, the granddaughter of Roman Artioli, who owned Lotus when they launched the Elise. Let me see if I can get in here. Elisa, Gareth Jones, friend of these two hooligans. How lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much.
There aren't many people I know who have a car named after them.
That's true. I'm really lucky.
And you got the last one.
Yes.
Did they give it you or did you have to buy it?
I had to buy it.
But did they give you a discount?
No, but they gave me some Alcantara seats.
You realise your grandfather saved Lotus, didn't he?
Yes, he did. The Elise was amazing, and I'm really happy that it saved this brand, and the legacy still lives on.
Yeah, this is an important car to people like us and you who care about cars. The fact that Lotus is still here is all down to the Elise, your car.
Yes, I'm really proud of it.
Do you get this a lot? Do you have to tell people that you've got a car named after them? Or do people come up to you and go, wait, aren't you...
Well, I don't go and tell this because I always say I cannot take credit for it. I'm lucky and I'm a Lotus enthusiast. I mean, I drive the Elise, I love this car, and so I'm the fan number one of Lotus.
And how old were you when they named the car after you?
I was just born when they presented the car in Frankfurt. I was 2.5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
You had no idea what was going on, really?
But I was already proud because I stood up and I showed my t-shirt with I am Elise and was really happy about it. I didn't want to get out of the car. I was just 2.5 years old.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Alicia, how lovely to meet you. Grazie mille.
Thank you, grazie.
Thank you very much.
Buona
Ciao.
serata.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao.
Wow.
Gareth Jones on speed.
That's it from this episode of Gareth Jones on Speed. Sitting outside the BBC Television Centre at Wood Lane. What an extraordinary night. I got to have a conversation with Jenson Button, and a second conversation that you didn't hear, where Jenson admitted to me that he had grown up watching me on TV, which is ridiculous. But most of all, respect to Lotus, who invited me here tonight as someone who cares passionately about the brand. And I know that this car is going to ensure the future of a brand that not only me but you as a car enthusiast are enthusiastic I wish I could find a better word, enthusiastic about. That's it. I was Gareth. This was Gareth Jones on Speed at the launch of the Lotus Eletre. See ya.
For information on how to contact the show, see pictures, get song lyrics, follow us on Twitter, find our Facebook fan page, or to sponsor the show, go to garethjones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed is made in London by Whiz Bang.
Gareth Jones on Speed!